probably not this year because just try to pay the bills. But yeah, it was just incredible. And we did one of these kind of like bus tour things. Like normally I'd rather get an Airbnb and sort of figure my own way around wherever I am, but we got on a bus and we did all the arranged tours, and I'm so glad we did it, because I think in Iceland, somewhere like that, driving is so difficult because of the weather and like the roads. It's just crazy. And just being taken around everywhere was magical. We seen like the big waterfall, we seen the Blue Lagoon, all of that. And it's just the perfect way to kind of start the Christmas holidays. So would recommend Iceland to anyone.
One of the most important things about Christmas for many of us is getting time to spend with friends and family. And I loved the conversation I had with contemporary artist Firouz Farman Farmaian, who really is a citizen of the world. For his Christmas story, Firouz remembers Christmas with his father in his Persian Marrakech house in Morocco. This is followed by campaigner Jamie Klingler in Philadelphia bookstores with her lovely mum, the Mambo brothers with their parents in Rio, and Marc Rahola in Ibiza.
Greetings, I am Firouz Farman Farmaian, contemporary artist, curator, multidisciplinary artist, and a musician. I'm based south of Spain, but work internationally. My idea of an original Christmas is spending it with my father in Marrakech, him being a Muslim Sufi, me being educated as a Catholic, into a hybrid form of celebration. We do have a tree, but at the same time, we don't celebrate exactly the birth of Jesus. We just celebrate it as a family reunion. What is also fantastic is that we are able to be together around family table and very incredibly have a blend of traditional Christmas food and Persian food, which I haven't seen anywhere. My father's house was built by my grandfather, that's a Persian architect, but a modernist. So it has a very traditional construct to it, but at the same time has very modern lines. Set in the Palmeraie of Marrakech, with beautiful orange walls and a very nice terrace, and a lot of animals. We've got dogs and more. It's called Al-Ferdos, meaning in Arabic, as they speak Arabic in Morocco, the wise one. Marrakech is constructed around the center. Marrakech you've got the old town, which is obviously the bazaar, what they call the souk. That's built around a plaza that's called Jamalfna. Then it extends to what they call the modern town, the Gelis, that's been constructed during the colonial times, which is on the other side of the town, where all of, let's say, the administrative developments take place. And then you have the larger Marrakech with the roads that go to Fez, and other roads that go towards different cities, where you have a forest of palm trees. They call it French the palmeraie, right? And you've got quarters. You've got neighborhoods there, and houses, very nice houses. And my father moved there in the 1990s, and we have the luck to have a very nice family home.
My name's Jamie Klingler, and I'm one of the co-founders of Reclaim These Streets. Christmas for me was very much Christmas Eve at my mom's. So when we woke up at 9 a.m. on Christmas Eve is when we would do our presents and go around and give the books and the pajamas and then have a Christmas breakfast together before going to my grandmother's. And then my mom and I would always get a book gift certificate to Marlowe's, which was run by a Jewish couple. So it was open on Christmas Eve. And we would sneak away from my grandmom's and go and spend our Christmas book gift certificate every year by ourselves, and probably spend too much time in the bookshelf or in the bookstore. So my grandmom would yell at us. But always having the joy of constant companions through books and the joy of reading is probably the thing my mom most gave me. And I grew up in Philadelphia, so this was in Northeast Philly, going to Marlowe Bookstore.
Hi, I'm Christian.
Hi, I'm Alan, and we are the
Mambo Brothers. A Christmas memory was the first time that we went with the full family, my mum and dad, to Brazil. And we checked in the hotel, and my mum is like, oh, she looked at it's Christmas right now in Spain. So we walked a few hundred meters. We were in front of a beach, and we ordered some lovely food, fish on the grill and some chicken and a big bottle of Skol. They're like really massive when you order them on the beach. And we were feet in the sand thinking, wow, it's Christmas right now in Spain, because they were 12 hours in front, I think, from Brazil. I think it was, what was it, Rio we were in, or Sao Paulo?
No, Rio.
So that was a magic moment on Christmas, and the other side of the world from where we're from.
Salvador de Bahia.
There we go, Salvador.
Christmas here in Ibiza, it's a time where, first of all, the native people has the opportunity to have a reunion with their families, because sometimes families here being in this island are split. So, for instance, my mother lives in a place, my sister lives in another place, out of Ibiza. So it is a moment in which we have reunion with cousins, with uncles. So let's say that this is also a moment that is special, because it's the only, let's say, part of the year that there is this possibility to have. That's by one side. Obviously, as it happens that, it's a good moment that you also see all friends that also are split around the world. Have Ibizencan friends that they live in US or in London or in Barcelona or in other places. So it's also a very good moment for that. So this is what I feel about Christmas. But saying that, when you come from as a tourist here, you are able to find absolutely an open island. It's not closed. Obviously, if you go to Playa Embosa, the very big, let's say, discotheques and hotels are closed, but there is a real, let's say, vibe in the island. There's a lot of sun still, and you are able to be in a fantastic spot in the middle of the island or in a beach, just looking the sun, grabbing a good dinner, a good stuff, in a way that it's very difficult to find other places in the world. And I can assure you that I have traveled a lot around the world, and with this, let's say, moment, it's something unique. While I'm saying that, at same, you can go and there are, let's say, very local little parties that we make, obviously, for these people. At least this island lives here 145,000 people. So yes, it's a little, let's say, village, but not such little as people might understand. So constantly it comes here expats of the whole world that they come here in Christmas. They join here with little spots in San Rafael and in other places of the island like San Antonio or Santa Eulalia, that there is a good mood, a very good mood.
Of course, Christmas doesn't always go to plan. People can feel far from home, fall out with their families, be unwell, make the wrong decisions, and have all sorts of things go wrong. Nanny Sharz, for example, celebrity nanny to the stars, had a nasty bug in Jamaica. Singer-songwriter Foy Vance hated spending Christmas in Lanzarote. Greg abandoned the Abandoned Places Explorer, and what a great episode that was. He had a Christmas romance go wrong in a London nightclub. And former Big Brother star Pete Bennett, I had a brilliant time when he came round to my house, remembers Christmas in the Caribbean with his mum and a drunk Santa and a bad buffet.
Hi, my name is Sharda Lambert, also known as Nanny Sharz, and I'm a childcare expert and international nanny. I have a great experience at Christmas because it's my sister's birthday. So it's always party for us, our family. We have loads of food. We have British and Jamaican breakfasts, and I just eat until my heart's content. And then we party for the whole night, which I absolutely love. But I had a very bad experience at Christmas one day. I was working abroad as a travel nanny, and the whole family got a stomach bug. So I ate pasta in my room and watched my family on Skype and just cried. So, yeah, that's been my two experiences. I prefer the first because I love being around my family. But, yeah, just try not to spend Christmas alone because it's not the best thing.
What country were you in?
I was in Oman. I was in Oman, and everyone got the travel bug, even the children. I was the only one that didn't. So shout out to my immune system. But yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Foy Vance here on the Big Travel Podcast, here to tell you about my Christmas travel story, which is when I was 23, I moved to Lanzarote for a year, and that incorporated Christmas. And I toyed with the idea of going back home, where it would be nice and cold and chilly and Christmas trees and fires and all that crack. But I decided to stay in the sunshine. And the long, tall, and short of it is, it was terrible. Don't ever do Christmas. Christmas is about the fires and the hot toddies. Sitting on a beach on Christmas Day really did suck. Merry Christmas, everybody.
My name is Greg Abandoned, and I explore abandoned places all around the world. And I would like to tell you a Christmas story that happened to me about 6 or 7 years ago. I was in London, and this was the first Christmas by myself. I just got divorced, and somehow I managed to get a date during Christmas. Maybe it was 26, and I remember this was around Leicester Square somewhere. I went out, and this date was going pretty well up until she said to me, "Would you fancy going clubbing or like dancing?" So I thought to myself, like, "Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, she wants to spend more time with me. So yeah, I can do that. Sure. I mean, it's going great. Like, if she wants to spend more time with me, it's going great." So I'm walking with her, and I can't exactly remember what was the name of the club, but I remember about 10 meters before we went to this club, she said that this is a trance club, like for like drag queens, things like that. And obviously I have nothing to against people like whoever, right? It's just I was curious about like why would she pick that from all of the places? Like, why would we go there? Because it is unusual, right? It is an unusual place to take someone on like the first date when you just met that person. So I was thinking to myself, back when I was 20, before all the dating apps and everything, my friend and I, when we used to live in Manchester on Canal Street, this was the time when you wanted to speak or pick up a woman, you would actually go to gay clubs, because we would hold hands, walk to a gay club, because that's where like women would go there to feel safe, and they would be like, "Oh, this is the time when no guy will come up to me and start chatting me up. I just want to spend time with my girls." And so we knew that, and we would like, "Okay, let's go to gay club," and then we do that. Unsuccessfully, obviously. And then fast forward 13, 14 years later, I'm in this situation, and we're going down to this, going downstairs to this club. And at that time, I just got divorced. I was with a person for 12 years. So I had so many insecurities. I didn't know if like anyone would find me attractive. I was overthinking everything. I was analyzing so much in my head that I remember she was talking to me, but I felt like I'm wearing headphones and music was so loud that I was having my own conversation with myself, and she was just talking to me. So I couldn't hear really what she was saying. And I just nodded, and I was saying, yes, yes, yes. And at some stage, I think maybe she realized that I was a little bit off. So she just grabbed my hand and took me to the dance floor. And we already, in that previous place, we already had like 4 or 5 beers. So when we got there, I was already sober. This because I started thinking, wait a second, maybe she had like a sex operation. Maybe she is a man or was a man, right? And I was like, that's not something I want to find out. because you should tell this other person if that's the case. You should tell them, right? Like, at least that's something you should tell. But again, probably not. I'm just so like in my head overthinking this. So okay, I'm now already sober. There's no alcohol doesn't affect me. When I'm sober, I cannot dance. I'm just like cutting shapes with my legs essentially. And there's R&B music, Alicia Keys, whatever, something is going on, and then she's just dancing next to me, and I just know what's gonna happen. I know it because, like I would do this sometimes. Like I would, go on dates, and when you go to like clubs and stuff, like this is like where people get a little bit closer, sure. Mm-hmm. So I knew that this kiss was coming, and the inside Greg was really freaking out. It was just, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, do. And at some point, her face got really close to me, and swear to God, it wasn't me. It was just my body just reacted. My body I was not in control. It was just like a defense mechanism. So my hand just went forward, and I pushed her, like I touched her, not arms, but like shoulders, and I just pushed her away, and my mouth just went like, "Are you a man?" Oh. And she just got so mad, started obviously throwing profanities at me and grabbed her purse and just stormed out. And I've never seen her again. I texted her later on, and I just tried to explain myself. I said that I needed to know why, that kind of stuff. Like I was like a little bit insecure. I was really dumb, that kind of stuff. Like I know whatever. Like I don't know what I was thinking, but it was the old ghosting situation. I've never heard from her again. So technically, I don't know. Maybe she was. So
I think that was probably a no. I think that was probably a no.
I think so. I think I was just stupid. Yeah.
I'm loving the Christmas date story. It's brilliant. What was her name, by the way?
Oh God, I don't know. I think it was Lisa.
Lisa, it's a great name. If you're out there, let us know.
I'm going to go with Lisa, yeah. Okay,
that's cool.
Hi, it's me, Pete Bennett. Christmas story. Right, so the last... my mum lives in Martinique in the Caribbean. I went up there for Christmas, whee! And let's just say, Father Christmas is black. Yeah, he's a black guy, He's got a great big white beard, red thing, but he's black. He's like, what? I was like, yes, Dad. I was like, it's the first time I've seen a black Father Christmas. You know what I mean? I've never seen one before. I don't know. It was a strange Christmas dinner. I mean, we went to this. I don't even know what it was. It was food, but it wasn't really food. It was just, I don't know. I can't even explain it really. No. Well, we went to I think it was like you pay for all you can drink and all you can eat kind of Christmas fair party, whatever, in this Caribbean resort. But it was the most tackiest, like literally crappy, cheesiest dump ever. And like, obviously Black Father Christmas walks in, he's off his nut, he's pissed out of his head, he's like, he's staggering about, and he's sitting on his chair, and then he's like all the kids have to line up to get a present off him, and his beard's hanging off, and he's not even fat, you know what I mean? But then he's handing out presents, I think, and I think there were biros or something. But we paid lots of money for this kind of adventure to meet Father Christmas. But
did you get a biro?
I got a biro, yeah. I was well up for Christmas biro, man.
Happy Christmas, there's a biro.
Yeah, I've still got it. I can't remember what else. We got made to eat like the pre-made food, but oh my God, Caribbeans haven't really sussed out how to cook yet. I've been to a lot of restaurants in Martinique, and my God, like the only thing they've really sussed out is chicken colombo, which is a curry, which is gorgeous. And I've got loads of powder, I love it. But anything else is just mushy crap. They have no idea how to cook. You know what I mean? It's just unreal shit.
All Caribbeans.
No, but
crap food.
not in Martinique. In Martinique, yeah. I've not had a nice meal in Martinique. I want to go to the places where, because I love Caribbean food here. You go to the Caribbean place and you like, it's gorgeous and it's really nice. But in Martinique, it's just not as good as it is here. It's like, how can it not be as good? It's just total shit. So we had a really bad kind of mash-up Christmas dinner with, it was like these big silver square trays. You go to school and you get the dinner lady handing out. That's what it was like. As they basically, this dinner lady like splodging on like whatever it was on our plate, and it was just mushy cack, and I don't know what it was, man, because everything tasted just wrong, and then the drinks were just like cheap alcohol. We drink all you like, but it was the cheapest of the cheap alcohol, and Father Christmas was off his nut.
Happy bloody Christmas.
And it was definitely not the Christmas side. There was no snow, there was no reindeers, and there was, there wasn't any. It's weird. It's really weird being in a hot country when it's Christmas because there's no snow, and if there's no snow or cold, it's not really. It doesn't feel Christmassy. It's red hot, and it just doesn't work. There's Christmas trees they put up, and it just doesn't. It just looks weird, It doesn't. Anyway, I can't really say. But that was bad. I mean, other Christmases have been great. I just go and see my mum usually in France and have Christmas with her. That's really
cool.
But Nan, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
that's great. It's wonderful.
I don't know. It sounded quite a boring story.
No, it was good. Don't worry. For many people, including our guests here on the podcast, the break over Christmas might also be a time to try something different. We've got Instagram expert and coach Sarah Tasker, who likes nothing more than a traditional Christmas at home in the UK, but is now considering her French getaway. Gallery director Simon Martin wanting to try an alternative Christmas in Cuba, author Trevor Dolby in the south of France in a tiny little village, and safari expert Will Bolsover remembering a Christmas in Marrakech.
Hi, I'm Sarah Tasker, and I am a coach and Instagram expert. And I don't think I've ever travelled for Christmas. I think the reason being that so much of what feels Christmassy to me is rooted in the traditions and repeating the same things year after year. So I live now in West Yorkshire, and things like there's a local Christmas tree farm where we go and pick our tree and they hack it down with an axe for us and then drive it back to our house on the top of our car. Wishing for snow and the places we go by and the food that we eat and the kind of cold nights drawing in and the twinkly lights. All of that feels so essentially Christmassy. I can't imagine having it somewhere else. But maybe in France. I have a house in France now, and I think a French Christmas might be equally magical.
I'm Simon Martin, and I'm the director of Pallant House Gallery. In terms of a Christmas anecdote, I mean, so often I have spent it with family, but actually a few years ago I decided I wanted to do something completely different. So I went with some friends to Cuba, and it felt like such a rebellious thing to do because, of course, you're going on the other, almost near the equator, and to this incredibly tropical place. And actually, what was brilliant is on Christmas Eve, one of the friends who's Spanish managed to get lobster. So we had lobster for dinner, and I took out a Christmas pudding from Fortnum and Mason's and tinned custard and crackers. And there was a Cuban drag queen who was staying in the same place who also came for dinner. It was quite random, who was completely freaked out by the crackers and thought they were explosives. And I'm not quite sure how I got them on the plane. Actually, I shouldn't say this publicly. But then on actual Christmas Day, we went to the whatever it's called, the Hotel National, and sat by the pool and had burgers. And it was brilliant. I loved it so much because it was, so unlike all of those kind of traditions and everything that you do. I mean, I love Christmas, but actually sometimes stepping out of it refreshes the whole thing. And I think that day we took one of those old, I can't remember the name of the car, but one of those vintage cars around the city, and it was just brilliant.
My book's One Plus de l'Église, and I'm Trevor Dolby. Christmas in the south of France. Well, little villages like the one we're in, Causevent, just after Christmas, they have a fête, a party, which is their New Year's party combined with the Christmas party. And it's usually on New Year's Day. And the first one of these we went to was many years ago, and it was an utter revelation to us. You go into the salon, and there's usually 3/4 of the village there, and there's food and there's wine, and everybody is sort of greeting each other, salut, ça va, and there's a stage. And when everything quiets down, on the stage comes the mayor, who gives a little speech about the state of the village from the previous year, the state of the finances, and so on. And then all the deputies come on, and they stand in a little semicircle, and they're introduced, and all their friends boo them, and anybody who doesn't know them claps. And some people shout, as they would in England, "Get off, go on, you're rubbish," and all this sort of thing. And they all stand there very awkwardly. But the big thing they're waiting for is the cabaret. And the cabaret is just something to be seen. The mayor and his deputies troop off the stage, and suddenly the lights go down. And the music starts. And I always thought it sounds like, you remember in one of those Bond films when there was a funeral, I can't remember, it was Live and Let Die, and it's this in the Caribbean, and they're coming around the corner, it's this sort of gubrious thing. And that music starts up, and there's nothing, it's dark. And then suddenly the lights blaze on, and the music goes into a full-blown jazz belter. And on the side of the stage, four women, figures, start to walk out slowly as this music's going crazy. And they're in black capes, and they've got hoods on, and they walk out really slowly, one after the other, and you don't know what on earth is going to happen. And they get to the front, and they all four of them sharply turn and face the audience, and the music stops. And there's a beat of 1, 2, 3, and suddenly the music belts up again. The lights come on. They throw off these capes, and underneath there's 4 women, stockings, suspenders, headpieces, full Moulin Rouge, with nipple tassels, the whole bit. This is a village in the rural France. Everybody goes crazy. All the blokes suddenly have cameras. All the women are smacking their husbands around the head for looking too hard. The kids are at the front dancing like crazy. And this goes on for about 2 hours. It's a proper full-blown Moulin Rouge. Everybody gets drunk and falls over, and the mayor gets dragged on. One of the girls ran down to the front of the stage, grabs the mayor, puts a feather boa around his neck, drags him on stage and starts dancing. It's just complete madness. At the end of the evening, of course, everybody is bonded over this, and everybody disappears into the dark night with the stars coming in the cold, humming tunes, staggering away until the next year. So that's my Christmas in Causevent.
My name is Will Bolsover from Natural World Safaris, and just thinking about where I've spent Christmas abroad, probably would be out in Morocco, and that was in Marrakech when I was leading trips out there. And that was in a little hotel it was just off Jemaa el-Fnaa, the main square where all the souks and everything are, which is there's quite a buzz and aroma and everything. It's quite exciting. And Hotel Alley was where I was, and that was our sort of base, and it was a pretty rough hotel, to be honest with you, but that's the staging point, and it had a roof terrace as well. And I can remember sitting up on the roof by myself on Christmas Day, having a beer, looking out over the square there, over Jemaa el-Fnaa. And then it was years later as well, I was out in Morocco with my son, and I was like, let's just go and see if we can find this hotel where we used to work from. And Hotel Alley is still there, it's still the same, and still a bizarre little place, but fantastic.
Wherever you are this Christmas, I truly hope you have a wonderful one, and indeed a very, very happy new year, full of friends, family, fun, and lots of travels. So thank you so much for being such lovely listeners throughout the year and continuing to support the Big Travel Podcast. Lots of love from me, Lisa Francesca Nand, and editor Alex George, as well as all our guests. Merry Christmas and a happy new year.
Hello, I'm Helen from FlixWatcher.
And I'm Kobe, also from FlixWatcher.
The Netflix review podcast you go to when you can't find anything to watch on Netflix.
That's right, we are another podcast in the Strip Media family, so if you've struggled to find a film on Netflix, then we're the podcast for you. And we have guests from other podcasts, big and small, and they're the ones that actually choose the films that we then rate and review and talk about in our show.
If you'd like to find out more about FlixWatcher or any of the other shows, visit www.strip.media to find out more.